What truly makes us, well, function? I'm not just thinking about, the physical stuff, our bodies, but the deeper things, our minds, our spirits. How do we perceive things, learn, grow, find that sense of real well-being? Today, we're doing an ancient deep dive into what the Buddhist scriptures call faculties, or maybe powers. The term is indriyas, and we're drawing specifically from the Indriyasaṃyuttaṃ, a really fascinating collection of texts.
That's right. And our sources for this, they're a series of quite concise discourses. What's interesting is how they often start with just a simple list, these inner powers, and then they expand on what they mean, their significance, often using repetition, actually, to really drive home the core ideas. So we'll be looking at these different sets of faculties, uncovering what they tell us about understanding ourselves and what ultimately leads to liberation.
Right, and our mission really is to pull out the key insights from these old texts, to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding what these faculties are all about and why they still matter so much for, well, for your own well-being and growth. Okay, so let's unpack this. We should probably start with the set that comes up most often, the 5 spiritual faculties. These are faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. You can almost think of them as the basic building blocks for inner development, right?
Exactly. Foundational pillars. Let's take a closer look at each one, maybe drawing on some of the details from the suttas. First up is faith sathindriya. Now, this isn't sort of blind belief. It's described more as a deep conviction, a trust, specifically in the Buddha's enlightenment, that profound understanding that he really was fully awakened. It's trust in the path he laid out.
Okay, not blind belief, but conviction. Got it. What's next?
Next is effort, virindriya. And this is really active, persistent energy. It's about, working diligently to let go of the unhelpful stuff in your mind that's already there, and also to prevent more unhelpful stuff from cropping up. And crucially, it's also about cultivating the good stuff, the skillful states, and keeping them going. It's almost like mental hygiene, actively cleaning out the unhelpful, nurturing the helpful.
Mental hygiene, I like that. Okay, faith, effort.
Then mindfulness, satindriya. This is about being fully present, really alert, possessing a sharp memory, a recollection. It means watching your body, your feelings, your mind, what's happening around you, but with clear comprehension, without getting caught up in wanting this or pushing that away, just seeing things as they are right now.
Seeing clearly in the moment. That sounds simple, but probably isn't easy.
It takes practice. Then there's concentration, samadhindriya. This is about developing a deep one-pointedness of mind, a real focus. The texts say by focusing on letting go itself, vosagaramanke, you can enter these deep meditative states. They're called jhanas, states of profound mental quiet and clarity.
Okay, jhanas. And the last one?
The last of the 5 is wisdom, paññendriya. This is that penetrative understanding, seeing how things arise and pass away. It leads ultimately to the complete end of suffering. This includes truly knowing, deeply understanding suffering itself, where it comes from, how it stops, and the path to stop it, which is, the 4 noble truths. It's like a profound insight into reality and how to navigate it skillfully.
Wow. Okay, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom. So why these 5? What makes them so absolutely crucial for us?
Well, the texts draw a direct line, really, between cultivating these 5 faculties and the different stages you reach on the path to awakening. For instance, just understanding their appeal, what's attractive about them, but also their danger, and how to escape their influence. That understanding alone is said to make someone a stream enterer. A sotapanno, someone who's definitely on the path, heading towards enlightenment.
So just understanding them is the first step.
A crucial first step, yes. And as that understanding deepens, understanding where they come from, how they disappear, the path becomes even more solid. And then ultimately you have the fully liberated person, the arahant. This is someone who's completely understood these 5 faculties, is totally free from clinging, has destroyed all those inner defilements, and, well, has done what needed to be done. Finish the journey.
And it sounds like it's not just an on-off switch, arahant or nothing. You mentioned stages. It's more of a progression.
Exactly. It's a clear progression. The sources, especially in the section called Murutaravago, show how different levels of completeness, samatha paripruta, in developing these 5 lead to different stages. It's a whole spectrum. You might start as someone more reliant on faith, a faith follower, or focused on the teachings, a Dhamma follower, then progressing to stream enterer, then once returner, sakagami, non-returner, anagami, and finally that fully liberated arahant. And the really powerful message woven through all this is that cultivating these faculties, it's never wasted effort, avijnani, every bit counts.
Never in vain. That's encouraging.
It is. And this idea of being endowed with faculties, indriyasaṃpanno, is central. One text, the Saṃyutta Sutta, explicitly asks how one becomes endowed, and the answer is by developing these 5 faculties in a way that genuinely leads to inner calm and to awakening. It's about the quality of development, not just ticking boxes.
And this isn't just something taught by the Buddha. It was key to his own experience.
Absolutely fundamental. His own awakening, as recounted in the Punapapa Sutta, it hinged on his direct, deep, personal understanding. Understanding the origin, the disappearance, the gratification, the danger, and the escape related to these very 5 faculties. It was that profound realization that confirmed for him his own, unmatched supreme enlightenment. It was the core of it.
Okay, so these 5 are clearly central, but you mentioned other sets of faculties. It's not just these 5 spiritual powers.
No, not at all. The texts explore other dimensions of our experience through this lens of faculties. For example, there are the 3 faculties of existence mentioned in the Jivitindriya Sutta. These are pretty straightforward. The female faculty, the male faculty, and the life faculty, Jivitindriya, which just relates to the continuity of life itself. Basic aspects of being alive in a body.
Okay, biological almost. What else?
Then there are the 3 faculties of knowledge from the Indriyasaṃyuttaṃ Sutta. These are fascinating because they map the journey of gaining insight. First, the faculty of I shall know the unknown, that initial drive or potential to understand. Then the faculty of knowing, actually gaining the knowledge. And finally, the faculty of one who knows the state of having fully integrated that knowledge, being established in insight. It shows a progression in understanding itself.
Stages of insight. Interesting. So how do our basic senses, sight, hearing, how do they fit into this picture?
Ah, yes, the 6 sense faculties. These are covered in a whole section, the Chaitindriya Vago. And they're exactly what you'd expect. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind faculty itself, manindriya, which perceives thoughts and ideas. And the texts make it clear. Understanding these 6, their origin, disappearance, appeal, danger, escape, is just as vital for spiritual progress. Just like with the 5 spiritual faculties, this deep understanding of the senses can also lead you to stream entry or even full arahantship.
So understanding how we perceive is key too.
Absolutely. And for someone who's fully liberated, an aseko one beyond training these 6 faculties in their ordinary grasping sense, they completely and utterly cease, as the Sikha Sutta puts it. No new faculties arise that would bind them again to the cycle of suffering. The mechanism of clinging through the senses is dismantled.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about feelings, pleasure, pain? They seem like pretty fundamental faculties too.
They are indeed. The texts discuss the 5 feeling faculties in the Sukindriya Vago. These are physical pleasure, Sukindriya, physical pain, Dukindriya, mental pleasure or joy, Samanasindriya, mental pain or displeasure, Domanasindriya, and equanimity, Upekindriya, that neutral feeling, neither pleasant or painful. The definitions always link them to contact, either physical contact or mental contact.
So feeling arises from contact.
Yes, and they're classified quite simply. Physical and mental pleasure count as pleasant feeling. Physical and mental pain are painful feeling, and equanimity is that middle ground, neither painful nor pleasant feeling. There's a great analogy in the Kahopama Sutta, like rubbing 2 sticks together creates heat and fire.
Right.
And when you separate the sticks, the heat and fire stop.
Okay.
In the same way, feelings arise from contact, and they cease when that contact or maybe our reaction and clinging to it ceases. And interestingly, the texts, like the Upaka Sutta, connect the cessation of specific feelings like pain, displeasure, pleasure, joy, to attaining those specific jhana states, the deep meditative absorptions. Higher states involve letting go of coarser feelings.
So meditating helps you understand and even transcend these basic feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered quite a few faculties now: spiritual, existence, knowledge, senses, feelings. It raises a question, though.
What's that?
Among all of these, is there one that's singled out as like the most important? The texts seem to really emphasize wisdom, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Overwhelmingly, yes. The supremacy of wisdom, Panyangriya, is hammered home with some really powerful analogies. You find these in suttas like Salasutta, Padasutta, Sarasutta, and the Rukkha Suttas. It's compared to a lion, Siho, among all creatures the strongest, fastest, most courageous. Wisdom is supreme among the factors leading to awakening.
Like the king of the jungle.
Exactly. Or like the footprint of an elephant, Hathipada. Among all footprints, it's the biggest. Wisdom is presented as the greatest, the most encompassing path to awakening. Another one compares it to red sandalwood, Lohita Kandana. Among heartwood scents, it's considered the superior fragrance. Wisdom is supreme among awakening factors.
Bent, footprint. lion.
And then there are trees, like
Yeah.
the rose apple tree, Jambu being chief in our world, Jambudipa.
Yeah.
Or the Parichatika tree among the Tavatisa gods. Or the Sittapali among the Suras, or the Kusambali tree among the Supenses. In each case, a specific tree is named as the chief of its kind in its realm. And the point is always, wisdom is chief among the factors of awakening.
Chief, supreme, greatest. The message is pretty clear. And I remember reading something about how it supports the others, like a structure.
Yes, that's a fantastic analogy from the Malacca Sutta. It compares it to a peaked house, a kayagora. Just like the rafters of the roof only become stable and secure when the peak, the very top part, is in place. The other four spiritual faculties, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, they only become truly stable and established when wisdom has arisen. Wisdom is like the peak that holds everything else together and gives it direction.
The linchpin. That makes a lot of sense.
It does. And the Pubbarama Sutta adds another layer. It says that while all five faculties are needed for an arahant, a fully liberated person, to confidently declare their attainment, it's wisdom, which, when you cultivate it, actually causes the other four, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, to follow along and get established. Wisdom leads the way.
So it pulls the others with it, in a sense. And this isn't just like theoretical knowledge. You mentioned direct experience earlier.
Critically important. There's this really striking exchange in the Pubbakut Haka Sutta. The Buddha's chief disciple, Sariputta, is asked if he believes that cultivating these faculties leads to the deathless Nibbana because of faith in the Buddha. And Sariputta says essentially, no, it's not just belief based on your words. He says because he knows it directly himself. He uses powerful terms. It is known by me, seen, understood, realized, touched by wisdom. It really underscores that this path isn't about blind faith. It's about developing your own direct insight, your own wisdom through experience. You have to walk the path, not just read the map.
Known, seen, understood, realized, touched by wisdom. Powerful. Okay, so we have all these faculties. Wisdom is supreme.
Yeah.
How do they all connect ultimately? Is there a sort of final destination mentioned?
Yes, there's a beautiful description in the Upapammasa Sutta that ties many of these threads together. It offers a kind of causal chain leading to the ultimate goal. It starts with the five physical senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. Each has its own field, right? They don't experience each other's objects.
Right, the eye doesn't hear, the ear doesn't see.
Exactly. Their refuge, the place where their input comes together, is the mind, mano. The mind faculty experiences all their domains.
Okay, mind integrates the senses.
Then the text asks, what's the mind's refuge? And the answer is mindfulness, sati. Mindfulness guards and observes the mind.
Mindfulness is the refuge for the mind.
And mindfulness is refuge. That's liberation, vimutti, freedom from defilements.
Liberation.
Liberation's refuge. That's Nibbana.
Nibbana, the ultimate goal.
Yes. And crucially, the text states, Nibbana has no further refuge. It is the final refuge, the unconditioned, the end of the entire process, the very aim of the holy life. So you see this beautiful progression: senses, mindfulness, liberation, Nibbana.
That's a really clear pathway. Senses, mind, mindfulness, liberation, Nibbana. Wow. And, you know, it's grounding to remember that even the Buddha aged. The texts mention that, right?
They do. The Jara Sutta, the discourse on old age, explicitly mentions the Buddha himself acknowledging the natural decline of his physical faculties. His eyesight weakened, his hearing, his body. The text is quite frank about it, and that reinforces this point. Physical faculties are subject to change, decay, it's universal. But the spiritual faculties, the ones we cultivate, like wisdom and mindfulness, offer something that transcends that physical impermanence.
So while the body ages, the inner development can continue, even strengthen.
Precisely. And just to wrap up the power of these faculties, the texts in the Sambodhavago section emphasize what happens when they are fully developed. It says, developing the five spiritual faculties leads directly to abandoning the fetters, sayojana-pahana, those things that bind us. It leads to eradicating the underlying tendencies, anusaya-samgataya, those deep-rooted habits, to fully understanding the path, arahantapariññaya, and ultimately to the destruction of the defilements, asava-nikāya, complete purification.
Abandoning fetters, eradicating tendencies, understanding the path, destroying defilements. That covers everything, really.
It's comprehensive. And one final point from the Upada Sutta really highlights their significance. It states that these 5 spiritual faculties, in their full potential for leading to liberation, they only arise and get cultivated with the appearance of a Tathagata, a fully awakened one like the Buddha, or within the discipline, the Vinaya, established by such a being. This really underscores how special and central they are considered within the Buddhist path itself. They aren't just generic self-help tools, they are core components of this specific path to awakening.
Oh. So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. This deep dive into the indriyas, these faculties. We've gone from those core 5 spiritual powers, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom that seem to drive liberation, to the 6 senses that shape how we even perceive the world, and the 5 types of feelings that color that perception. What seems really clear, listening to all this, is that these aren't just, abstract ideas from old books. They feel like the actual engines of how we perceive, how we practice, and maybe even our potential for growth.
I think that's exactly right. What's so striking reading across these different suttas is how consistent the message is. Real mastery, real wisdom. It doesn't come from outside achievements or just collecting information. It comes from deeply understanding and then skillfully cultivating these powers within ourselves. It's all about seeing really clearly how they arise, how they stop, and crucially, what path purifies them and leads beyond their limitations.
And maybe that's the thought to leave everyone with today. If understanding and really working with these faculties was seen as the key to such profound states liberation, Nibbana, what could a deeper awareness of your own faculties right now reveal? About your inner world, how you react to things, your own capacity for change, for transformation in your everyday life. It's definitely something powerful to think about, isn't it?